But I would say probably the biggest story as we start off today is the fact that John Bolton's home was raided. Buck, this is an intelligence-related story, so I'm going to tee it up for you as many different people are out there reacting to this. Bolton has been a prominent Trump critic, and this raid seems designed to investigate whether he has been a source for the leaking of classified documents, both in Trump 1.0 and maybe beyond. Is that a fair assessment in your mind, Buck, of what exactly is going on here?
Obviously, we need more details to really understand everything that's going on with this. But I got to tell you, I mean, there's a few things that jump out at me right away. One is that he wrote a book, right? And in this book, he says he got it reviewed. And I mean, look, this is a former Trump guy too, so it's interesting because he was a Trump national security advisor. It's not a Democrat who had his house raided. So they've searched his home and his office of John Bolton. Have you ever done a hit with Bolton, Clay? I actually did Red Eye.
I don't think so. I don't know him. I've never met him. I don't think I have any interaction with him in any way.
Well, yeah. So I've met him a couple times. The investigation into Bolton, according to the New York Times here, seeks to determine whether he illegally shared or possessed classified information. And that's pretty much what we've got. There are a few things that could be at issue here. One is the book that he wrote. And the book, he says, was cleared. I've been told that there's something about a verbal clearance that he received for it. Basically, there may be some dispute over whether the book went through. And I went through this process. For any of you who are wondering why has my book taken so long, it was many months of just pure bureaucratic delay. But I knew, Clay, I had to get under, and this is under both a NDA and under national security statute that I signed to go to the CIA 20 years ago, that if I'm writing anything that touches on my CIA experience, classified information, etc., you have to submit. And I had to get this letter. It's almost like getting a clearance letter from a prosecutor. Like, you're good. You're not under investigation anymore. I had to get a clearance letter. Your book is fine. Without that letter, you are liable for anything that is in that book that the national security apparatus decides was classified. So the book could be at issue. That's part one. I do remember thinking, I have to go and check on this team, but I remember he got a book out very fast after he was done with his time in the Trump administration. So fast that I recall thinking maybe he had some kind of a buddy on the inside who moved it along for him, but maybe he played a little fast and loose. I don't know. The other possibility is that he had classified documents in his home. To me, that would be so stupid. It's unthinkable, except Biden, as we all know, from when he was vice president and when he was a senator. But to be fair, Biden did also have some dementia going on. So, we can't say he had dementia.
I think this is important, by the way. After the Trump and Biden classified document scandals, if by chance you worked in former intelligence and you were like, I've still got some of these, you probably burned them or shredded them or got rid of them if you have a remotely functional brain, right? I mean, the idea that you would continue to possess those is crazy.
It's not hard to get rid of them. To keep them would be, that's what I mean. It would be reckless beyond.
Yeah.
Look, General Petraeus got hit on this one, 4-star general and former CIA director. He got hit for having classified outside of proper check. So it does happen. There was a CIA director a long time ago, even though he's the director, not allowed to just kind of have the papers all over his office at home. So that's possible. I would think Bolton is too clever for that, but maybe I'm giving him too much credit. The other thing, which is probably the likeliest, Clay, but the hardest to prove, was he feeding information, classified information, to reporters to undermine Trump, who he had just been working for as national security advisor? I think that's the likeliest, personally, just the likeliest scenario of what the investigation is focused on. But look, man, you never want those FBI guys and windbreakers coming to your house And I'm sure we'll get more on this one. And it's just showing you Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, tweeted out, "No one's above the law." Trump's taking that serious, or his team is taking that seriously. Trump said he has no knowledge of this.
Yeah, I don't believe that, but I would say that if I were the president. Yeah. No, I would say the same thing if I were president of the United States. I'd be like, man, they got independence. I don't know anything about it. But that's exactly what I would say. I do think we should play the flashback here. Here is John Bolton. For anybody out there that is freaking out, here is John Bolton saying after Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago was raided, hey, let's just wait and let the process play itself out. Cut 5.
I don't think he cared about the classification system. I don't think he appreciated the sensitivity of this information, and he didn't appreciate the sensitivity of how it was often acquired, the so-called sources and methods. So this had been briefed to him before I arrived. It was repeated frequently. I think it simply had no impact on him whatever. It's very hard to speculate on motive other than that he liked cool things. He saw things that so he wanted to take them, and he was pretty much able to take them, and not just on classified information matters, on all kinds of things that crossed his desk. Some days he liked to eat a lot of French fries. Some days he took classified documents. He wanted them. Why did he want them? Because he could get them.
Oh. Maybe he wanted them because he could get them. Let me also clarify what I said. I don't know that Trump is getting updated on every raid like this. I think Trump knows the process which led to these raids are going to happen. I would say probably Kash Patel doesn't walk in and say, hey, tomorrow morning early, we're going to be doing a raid. I'm not sure Trump is getting the minute updates like that. I don't think he was surprised.
Advisor Clay, he probably is. Now, I think Clay,
but maybe they're not telling him the exact moment that they're going to happen, which allows Trump to say, I didn't know about it.
I think that Trump maybe it wasn't in the decision-making process to do the raid.
Yeah.
I think that AG Bondi and Kash Patel probably were handling that. Look, this is also, we see this with the DOJ and with special counsel stuff and all this. They work for the president, but there's this belief that they kind of don't work for the president, but there's a Chinese wall, so to speak, between them and the president. But no, not really. So it's a strange place for things to be. I have to wonder if this is actually going to what the basis for this is, because to do this and to have it go nowhere here. By the way, here is Trump. Let's hear Trump talking about this. Play cut 1. Go for it.
No, I don't know about it. I saw it on television this morning. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. He's a real sort of a lowlife. When I hired him, he served a good purpose because, as you know, he was one of the people that forced Bush to do the ridiculous bombings in the Middle East. Bolton, he wants to always kill people, and he's very bad at what he does. But he worked out great for me because every time he doesn't talk, he's like a very quiet person, except on television. If he could say something bad about Trump, he'll always do that. But he really doesn't talk. He's quiet. And I'd walk into a room with him with a foreign country, and the foreign country would give me everything because they said, "Oh no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton's there." He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid.
Do you expect the DOJ to brief you on this?
Yeah, they'll brief me probably today sometime.
And the foreign minister.
I tell Pam and I tell the group. I don't want to know about it. Just you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer, but I feel that it's better this way.
Let me say this too, Buck. I would say on this front, I think Trump may not want to know about some of this stuff because he doesn't want to be blamed if it gets leaked. You ever in that scenario where I hate sometimes knowing information that I know is not public yet because I'm like, 8 people know this. If it gets leaked, somebody's going to be like, oh, he's the one who talked, right? And so I think one thing Trump learned about during his first term, in addition to knowing that people like John Bolton, who, frankly, he just didn't have the knowledge to know who to surround himself with as staff, I think also he learned that a lot of these briefings are being done so that they can leak that they briefed the president. That makes you used to brief the president, But I think one of the things that Trump found so frustrating was his intelligence agencies would brief him, and then 20 minutes later, it's a story in the New York Times. And he's like, man, they set me up on this. Remember our buddy, Senator Ron Johnson, has talked about this. I don't think it's gotten enough attention, but he got briefed. So the FBI could say they briefed him on the Hunter Biden laptop story, if I remember correctly. They leaked that they had briefed him about the fact that Russian disinformation might be going on so they could make it look like he was somehow a target or involved in this. And so I think Trump may not want those briefings because he just knows that the stories come out and they're trying to paint him into a corner.
There are certain documents you always want to have in order. Your annual tax return, for example, kids' registration at schools, for example. Having a will or trust in place is also a definite must-have. If you haven't created one yet, a trust or a will, take advantage of what trustandwill.com has to offer. Trustandwill.com allows you to create your own legal trust or will documents online without having to find and hire an attorney. Trust and Will makes this effort a simpler, affordable one. The result gives you peace of mind now and your surviving family members clarity in the future. Get started today. Save 20%. Go to trustandwill.com/buck. They're experts in creating personalized trusts and wills that protect your legacy. Trustandwill.com/buck. You're going to feel better about having these in place for the benefit of your family and loved ones.